Now let us see how a spherical mirror can be represented, or it can be explained with the help of a ray diagram. First of all, try to understand what is a spherical mirror. A spherical mirror is a part of a hollow sphere whose one of the sides is polished and other is reflecting side. One side is polished or made silvered, coated with the oxides of lead. So the other surface become highly reflecting. So a spherical mirror may be of two types depending on the nature of the reflecting surfaces. If the reflecting surface is depressed inwardly, means has a curvature inside, it is a depressed surface, then it is called a concave mirror. And if the reflecting surface is bulging out, means has a oval shape outwardly, means if the outer surface of the sphere behaves as a reflecting surface, then it is called a convex mirror. And if the inner surface of a hollow sphere serves as a reflecting surface, then it will be considered as a concave mirror. The nature of image formed by these two different surfaces are different. That is why we have to study these two different spherical mirrors separately. First, consider the concave mirror. So see here, it is a concave mirror and this one is a convex mirror. In concave mirror, the reflecting surface is depressed inwardly, whereas in convex mirror, its reflecting surface is bulging outwardly. There are certain terms related to the spherical mirrors. First of all, we have to clarify, or we have to understand the usual terms involved in the study of this reflection of light through the spherical mirrors, means concave and convex mirrors. First is the aperture. What is aperture? It is the width of the reflecting surface, means edge to edge diameter. Edge to edge diameter of the reflecting surface gives the size of the reflecting surface, and it is here optically termed as aperture of the mirror. Larger the aperture of the mirror, larger is the reflecting surface area. A smaller the aperture, a smaller will be the mirror and its reflecting surface too. It is denoted by mm dash. Now next is the center of curvature. What do we mean by center of curvature? It is one of the terms associated with the properties of a spherical mirror. So what is the center of curvature? It is the center of the imaginary hollow sphere. It is the center of the imaginary hollow sphere of which the mirror is a part. Suppose that this is a hollow sphere, and C is here, the center of this hollow sphere. So C is considered as the center of curvature. Since it is a two-dimensional diagram, so it is denoted as the central point of this circular outline of the mirror, and this will represent the center of curvature of the spherical mirror, or the center of curvature of the concave or convex mirror of which the mirror is a part. In both the mirror, that is concave or convex, this center of curvature is real in case of concave mirror, but virtual in case of convex mirror. How? In concave mirror, the center of curvature is just in front of the reflecting surface, and it comes inside the sphere of the mirror. But in case of convex mirror, the center of curvature is just opposite to the reflecting surface. The reflecting surface is the outermost part or the surface of the sphere, inside which the center of curvature lies. So it is not in front of the reflecting surface, but behind the reflecting surface, and it cannot be detected actually. That is why for convex mirror, the center of curvature is considered as the virtual center of curvature. Now, next one is the pole. What is pole? Pole is the midpoint of the reflecting surface of either convex mirror or concave mirror. Whatever be the reflecting surface, there is a central point, and this central point of the reflecting surface, that is in case of concave mirror, it is the deepmost point, and in convex mirror, it is the outwardly most bulging out point. So, the pole is the central or the midpoint of the reflecting surface simply. Now, let us come to the radius of curvature. What is the radius of curvature? Now, here pole is denoted by symbol P. Center of curvature is denoted by C. Now, let us come to see what is radius of curvature. What is radius of curvature? Radius of curvature is the radius of the imaginary hollow sphere of which the mirror is apart. So whatever be the radius of the imaginary hollow sphere, that will be the radius of curvature of the mirror. Means a spherical mirror, whether it is concave or convex. So radius of curvature is the distance between center of curvature to the midpoint of the reflecting surface, that is pole. Now, what is principal axis? Principal axis is an imaginary line passing through the pole and the center of curvature, which is denoted by xx dash. So here in this case xx dash is the principal axis, P is the pole of the spherical mirror, means concave mirror here, and C is the center of curvature. So the distance between P and C means pole and center of curvature means CP is the radius of curvature. It is denoted by capital R. It is denoted by capital R, radius of curvature. Next term used here is the principal focus. What is the principal focus of the concave or convex mirror? It is the point on the principal axis at which all the parallel lines, incident rays falling on the reflecting surface get converged to that point after reflection, or in case of convex mirror, they appear to be reflecting out of that point, means they appear as a rays of emergence emerging out of that point. So principal focus is the point on the principal axis at which the incident ray parallel to the principal axis get converged or intersect each other after reflection, or appear to be emerging out from that point after reflection in case of convex mirror. It is denoted by letter capital F. That is, here F is the what? Principal focus. Principal focus. Now, focal length. What is focal length? It is the perpendicular distance between pole and the principal focus. Distance between pole and principal focus is called focal length. It is denoted by a small f. So focal length is denoted by a small f. Geometrically, it can be proved that focal length is half of the radius of curvature, means a small f equal to r by 2. A small f means focal length equal to r by 2, or we may write r equal to 2f, means radius of curvature is twice the focal length, means r equal to 2f. Now object length or the distance of object from the mirror is called object length. It is the distance between pole and the object placed on the principal axis. The point at which object is placed on the principal axis. So the distance between object and pole is called object distance. It is denoted by a small u. So object distance u, or you may say distance of object. In the same way, image distance or distance of image, it is the distance between pole and the principal focus. Distance between pole and principal focus is known as focal length. And the distance between pole and the image formed on the principal axis, that is called image distance. The distance between pole and the image formed on the principal axis is called image distance. It is denoted by a small v. So these are the general terms which are used to explain the various properties of the mirror or the spherical mirror, and to express the relation among the different terms in the form of mirror formula and so on. So these are the different terms which have to be defined, and you should understand these terms first clearly. Then we will see again the further how image is formed, or how do we draw the image diagram on the paper or the board, anywhere. So in order to draw the ray diagram of the image formation, what things or what are the parameters that have to be specified? We see here, in order to form an image, the intersection of incident rays of light must be considered. And for drawing a point image, at least two rays must be taken from the source, that is light source. Here object may also be considered as the light source, because the image of the object is formed due to the reflected light coming from the object on the mirror, surface of the mirror or the reflecting surface. So in order to draw a ray diagram, we must need two rays starting from the object, that is incident ray must be there, two in number at least, to have a sharp image. Now what happens when the two rays are considered in a certain specified positions in case of a spherical mirror. We have to understand these things at first, and by knowing that we will be able to draw the ray diagram. Let us first take when light rays coming from the object passes through the mirror or incident on the mirror parallel to the principal axis. When the light rays coming from the object are parallel to the principal axis, they get reflected through the mirror, and the reflected rays pass through the principal focus of the mirror. See again what I have told you, that when the incident ray parallel to the principal axis get reflected through the spherical mirror, first in case of concave mirror, after reflection the reflected ray will pass through the principal focus, and in case of convex mirror the reflected ray appear to be emerging out of the principal focus. So first case. Second one, just inverse of this first, that is when the incident ray passes through the principal focus and get incident on the surface of the mirror, after reflection the ray become parallel to the principal axis. And third one, when the incident ray passes through the center of curvature, when the incident ray passes through the center of curvature and get incident on the surface of the spherical mirror, they get reflected along the same path, that is they reflect across the center of curvature. Means they get bounced back on the same path. And the fourth condition, when the incident ray get reflected on striking the pole of the mirror obliquely to the principal axis, that is making certain angle with the principal axis, they get reflected forming the same angle with the principal axis, that is here angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. So the oblique incident ray get reflected obliquely after the reflection through the mirror. So considering any two of these four situations at a time, we will be able to draw the ray diagram which have to be studied in this chapter. Drawing a ray diagram is an important work here, and it can be done by considering any of the two situations discussed here just to draw the diagram. Now we will study drawing the ray diagram on the paper in the next lesson. Wait for the next video. Thank you very much.